It has a history of large hail. This is a serious storm. You need to move immediately to your safe place being a hall closet, an interior bathroom, an interior hallway. Just make sure it's on the lowest level of your home. Take some pillows, take some blankets, take your NOAA weather radio, turn your TV up as loud as you can. You also can watch us on your WBIR app, so you can continue to stream our coverage of what we're talking about right now, even if you go to your safe place, if that's what you're worried about. So please take your kids, take your pets, take your family, go to the lowest level of your home right now. If you are in Norma and up to Fairview Elementary School along Norma Road and along State Road 63 into Campbell County. If you're in Dean, you need to go to your safe place, because again, this storm is really kind of showing its colors right now, and we are watching it very closely as it's continuing to move off to the northeast. We still have that storm to the north, to the east of Oneida, north of Posey School right now, but again, the storm down to the south is the one that we're more concerned about right now. Let me go ahead and loop this so you can see how that's kind of tightening up in the last couple minutes. Elise, what did you say? Okay, we're gonna have to wait a minute on that. This cell, again, tightening up. Notice how the colors are kind of separated right here and they're not super bright. And then in the last couple scans, just in the last 5 minutes or so, the scans have really tightened up, seeing those brighter colors. That not only means stronger winds, but when they're paired side to side like that, that's called gate to gate. That's called a couplet. That's called inbound, outbound winds going right next to each other. And the brighter the colors, the stronger the winds that are doing that. So that gives us more confidence that this cell is currently producing a tornado about to move into the Norma area right now. Cannot emphasize enough. If you are in Norma or near Fairview Elementary School or Straight Fork School, or along State Road 63 into Campbell County toward Royal Blue, north of Caravel up I-75, up near Terry Creek School, Highway 297. You need to move now. Take immediate action to the lowest level of your home in your safe place. Please go do that. Very, very important with these strong storms that we're seeing. And again, that's storm number 2 that we've been watching. We do have 2 tornado warnings in effect here. The first one appears to be weakening a little bit. That one's now just to the south and east of the Winfield area in northeast Scott County. The more robust cell that we're more worried about, more concerned about to possibly be currently producing a tornado is the one that is just to the west of Norma, that is then going to continue into Campbell County. So if you are in Campbell County, from Jellicoe to Habersham, La Follette, over to Fincastle, down to Caravel, and up to Elk Valley along I-75, anywhere in that red polygon, you need to be moving to your safe place right now, because the storm is holding itself together and it's exhibiting all the characteristics of a storm that is currently producing a tornado. So again, in the Norma area where you see that bright blue and that bright red, that is a possible tornado possibly moving into the Norma area. So again, we need you to take shelter right now. The next time the scan updates, because it only updates every 2 to 3 minutes, it's going to be on top of Norma. So don't go based off of what you're looking at right now. The scan is a minute or 2 old. You need to be going to your safe place right now. Naming other locations that may be affected by this storm, again, very, very shortly. Norma School, Dean, Straight Fork School, Jake's Branch Church, Emmanuel Baptist Church, Turley, Block, and Royal Blue School. Again, anywhere around any of those that I just named, you need to be moving to your safe place again immediately. Let me see if we have got any more reports coming in from this particular cell. Okay, so Elgin in Scott County. Elgin is, they are reporting a possible tornado, a brief tornado touchdown. Again, that's in the Nidec area. That's the same area we've been talking about because of the possible damage in that area. Again, the couplet, though, very strong with the storm that's now down to the south, which it looks like it just updated there. Excuse me, let me go back here and take this off so we can see what we're trying to see underneath here. Yep, okay, so that very tight couplet right there, now about to cross over Norma Road just to the north of Norma. So it's between Fairview Elementary School and Norma, right along that road. That is where we could have a possible tornado on the ground right in that area. So zooming in just a little bit, that does include Straight Fork Road, Lawson Road, Hurricane Road. These are the same ones we named just a little bit earlier, asking you to please take shelter. Anderson Hollow Road, Straight Fork Church Road, ML Chambers Loop, and again, Norma Road looking up to the north a little bit, State Road 63 there. Again, please take shelter now. If you are in Campbell County along Old Highway 63 or Jake's Branch Road near Titus, Turley, Royal Blue, along I-75, right in that area that I was just naming, to the north of Caravel, you need to be moving to your safe place now, because again, this storm is exhibiting the best characteristics that we've seen all day for the potential to be producing a tornado. Can't emphasize enough how important it is that you go to your safe place right now because of that tornado-warned storm wrapping its way up and moving into the Norma area right now. We'll go back just a little bit so you can kind of see how that storm is curling. See that kind of hook look to it, the hook echo? We talk about it with the comma shape as you have that inflow coming in and that rotation showing up in the atmosphere. That's what we've got going on around the area. And okay, so folks, what you're seeing right here is our correlation coefficient product. What this tells us is how much things look alike that are in the atmosphere and when they don't. And what you're seeing with that brighter color that's showing up just to the west of the Fairview Elementary School, that's what we call a possible tornado debris signature. So what that tells you is that if there was a tornado on the ground, it is lofting debris up into the atmosphere, and that is showing up on our correlation coefficient product here in our system. So folks, I cannot emphasize enough to you that everything that we are looking at right now indicates that there's a possible tornado on the ground right now producing damage near the Norma area. It's going to be crossing over the county line into Campbell County very shortly, and you need to take shelter immediately if you are out ahead of the storm. Please do that. This storm is showing us everything that indicates that it is causing trouble where it is right now. And again, this is in Scott County near the Norma area, going to be crossing over into Campbell County, up near Royal Blue School very shortly along I-75 north of the Carrollville area. So please, again, take shelter. If you are anywhere from Fairview Elementary School along 63 into Campbell County and in Norma, you need to be in your safe place right now. Please go do that. We are again are continuing to track that storm. It has a tornado warning on it. It is indicating that it is possibly a tornado on the ground right now. We still have that secondary storm that is to the north. It appears to be weakening. So it's going to be moving into southeast McCreary County and into southern Whitley County very shortly. The warning has not been extended into Kentucky. So it does appear that that storm is weakening and that warning will be allowed to expire. So storm number 1 doesn't look to be a problem anymore for our northern areas, but we just had a new tornado warning issued and a new severe thunderstorm warning issued for Fentress and Scott County again. So if you're in Oneida, you got another one coming in your direction. Let's dive into the radar here and talk about again these new warnings that were just issued for this area. Okay, here you go. Fentress County. This warning is in effect until 5:45 Central Time because again, there's twists in the atmosphere. And again, these storms are tapping into that potential. So this storm is located to the east of Allert, to the south of Altacrest School near Goad School right now. It's going to be moving toward the Honey Creek School area. Again, this is only for Fentress County right now, that tornado warning, but the National Weather Service in Morristown has gone ahead and issued a severe thunderstorm warning with the possibility of a tornado attached to it coming into Scott and Campbell County in just a little bit here. So that is a new cell that has just popped up and started to strengthen in eastern Fentress County to the east of the Allert area, again possibly producing damaging winds, large hail, and possibly a tornado in that area. Let me see what else we've got going on here. Let's go ahead and talk about that severe thunderstorm warning. Again, that severe thunderstorm warning just now issued for the yellow polygon, again for Scott County. That is going to be moving towards Scott Municipal Airport and Oneida and Helenwood once again. That is the same storm that's in Fentress County now that's going to be moving into your direction. So this cell right here is going to be moving in this direction into Scott County. So if you're in Oneida, Helenwood, near Scott Municipal Airport, go back to your safe place again. And in Winfield, you need to be doing that too. Let's check out if there's any rotation. Not really looking too strong right now in that area, but we are seeing the possible rotation near Goad School right there in Fentress County. Again, the strongest storm that we have right now in our area is this one that is now to the north of Norma. So let's give you an update on the latest with this one. Again, this storm now moving near Straight Fork Road. It's kind of following along State Road 63, and it's going to stay on that path into Campbell County. It's going to be getting into the Royal Blue School area, crossing over I-75 near kind of Titus, near Royal Blue, near Stinking Creek Road, near Pioneer, up in that area. So if you're in those areas, Pioneer, Buckeye, Terry Creek, Titus, Turley, and along 63 and I-75 in those areas that I just named right there, you need to be moving to your safe place right now. Again, this storm not only has the potential to have produced damage, but we're still seeing the possibility of some debris signature on our correlation coefficient product right here. And what that again tells us is that the storm may have lofted debris into the atmosphere. So that basically tells us that there was a good chance that there was a tornado on the ground, and what we're seeing from our velocity product is there's a good chance that there may still be a tornado on the ground with this particular cell. And again, not only producing the possibility of the damaging winds or possible tornado, but also that storm has a history of producing half-dollar size hail when it was back near the Sunbright area. It has produced damage in the Cumberland County area, in Morgan County, now in Scott County, and possibly going to be moving into Campbell County. So again, that's been the more robust of our storms today, and it still doesn't look like it's letting up just yet. So again, we're going to continue to track that storm to give you a broad overview of what we've got going on. Cell number 1 has almost completely moved out of the Warren area. It's crossing over into southern McCreary County right now. We're going to be getting into southern Whitley County very shortly. So in southern Kentucky, those areas that I just named, you've got a strong storm coming in your direction, but no warnings have been issued for your area. So in southeast Kentucky, no warnings in effect. We have a tornado warning in effect for the storm that's near Norma, the one that I've been talking about that's demonstrated the best potential of having produced the damage recently, or possibly produced a tornado that is still maybe possibly on the ground near the Norma area crossing into Campbell County. And then we have a new cell that has developed to the east of Allert in Fentress County that has a tornado warning for Fentress County and a severe thunderstorm warning once it gets into Scott County. So Helenwood and Oneida, you need to be going back to your safe places again, as we do have another cell that's going to be moving in your direction. And again, all of this activity is moving to the northeast at about 30 to 40 miles per hour. And once this activity gets through, we're going to be babysitting again and continuing to monitor. But for the rest of our viewing area, things have been pretty quiet today. And for the valley and areas south of Knoxville and all of that, you don't have to worry about this stuff. This is just for our plateau counties and continuing up into southeast Kentucky. And again, we do have a couple severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for parts of Pulaski and Laurel County in Kentucky as well. Those for the potential of damaging winds up in those areas. So we are continuing to track these storms as they are moving through the area. We're going to continue to check and see if there's any damage. We have crews on the way to the areas that have the possible damage too. And I'm going to go ahead and send it over to Robin and John for a quick update on the latest reports with the damage that we have from around the area right now. And then we'll jump right back in and continue tracking these storms with your radar in just a minute.
Cassie, we want to give you a much needed break. You've been going on well over an hour and a half, but thank you very much. We'll let you regroup. But yes, these storms heading toward the northeast as Hill Elementary School, as well as the high school and a nursing home. We've seen pictures of that, and we want to encourage you, if you are seeing damage or anything of note in your area, please send them to us. And we want to show some pictures that we have gotten up to this point right now.
If we can, we'll take a look at Fentress County, as Robin mentioned. Viewers have been texting us, as well as Morgan County. But again, we have Cassie with us, and we've been on the air again close to an hour and a half, almost 2 hours now. Cassie's tracking those storms. Just wanted to give her a moment to catch up and catch her breath. But those tornado warnings in effect until 6:30. In fact, 2 in effect for those counties on the plateau. Cassie?
We just had another one that was actually just issued as an extension of the first one. So that storm that I was talking about that was demonstrating the greatest potential of producing a tornado, that warning on that storm was going to expire at 6:30. So the National Weather Service has gone ahead and issued a new warning on the same cell that's moving over the Scott-Campbell County line right now. That new warning, we'll go ahead and pause this right now and kind of point out where it is. That is this polygon box right here. So that extends from eastern Scott County through Campbell County, including Elk Valley and Habersham, because this now looks like it's going to pass to the north of La Follette and Fincastle. So it looks like it's going to move into possibly the Elk Valley and Habersham areas, crossing over 25W, and then down the road. As a precaution, the National Weather Service has also included western Claiborne County, because this cell has held its own. It's held itself together since it was over in Cumberland County near Fairfield Glade. Actually, it was to the south of Crossville. So this storm has been hanging on since the Crossville area and may continue to the northeast all the way across Campbell County and possibly into Claiborne County in a little bit. So again, that warning now in effect until 7:15. So that tells us that again, these storms continuing across the area, continuing to show us the possibility of producing tornadoes or debris. Let's look at the latest velocity scans. Again, this is our tightest couplet. This is the one that we've been showing you that may have given us that tornado debris signature just a little bit ago on the area. So let's go ahead and talk about it. So it crossed over Norma Road just to the south of Fairview Elementary School. At least if you're in the booth, that's where we need to be calling on, right specifically in the Norma area and near Fairview Elementary School. If we have a crew heading there, that's where they need to be going. And then it's about to cross over the Campbell-Scott County line right now, kind of along State Road 63, right up toward Highway 297. And that means it is going to be crossing I-75 near the Stinking Creek Road area. I'm not sure if we have any TDOT cameras up there, possibly. Is there a way someone can check on that, Foxy, maybe? No TDOT cameras that far north, apparently, on I-75. But up in Campbell County along I-75 near Royal Blue School, north of there along Stinking Creek Road and near Terry Creek School. So if you're in Pioneer, you need to take shelter. If you're near Buckeye or Titus, you need to be moving into the lowest level of your home right now because the cell is coming over you. And looking down ahead, if you are along North Meredith Road and along Stinking Creek Road east of I-75, near Campbell Road, Adam Hollow Road, those areas need to be taking shelter. And down the road looking in Habersham, that's where we also need to be moving to your safe place now, because that, again, that cell has held itself together for a very long time. And sometimes once they do that, they've shown us their hand that they are not going anywhere right now. Again, that's our velocity scans, checking our correlation coefficient. Again, the possibility of some debris maybe lofted because of that particular cell. And again, that tornado warning for that cell in effect until 7:15 tonight. So that again has been extended due to the potential for that storm to maintain its strength. Also still producing the possibility of large hail. Again, crossing over that Scott-Campbell County line there. It looks like the hail may be falling near the Elk Valley Road or in those areas from Rock House School up to Elk Valley very shortly here. So again, large hail possible. It did produce half-dollar size hail when it came through the Sunbright area just a little bit ago. And then we still have that other storm that is still a tornado warning in effect until 5:45 in Fentress County, so that's Central Time. That cell is moving out of Fentress County and into western Scott County. Let me explain what's happening on this radar here. We have two different National Weather Service offices that cover our viewing area. So the one in Nashville has issued a tornado warning for Fentress County. The National Weather Service in Morristown has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Scott County. So just understand that it's the same cell, and it is dangerous whether it's a tornado warning or a severe thunderstorm warning. Excuse me. So either way, if you're near Goad School or going over to Possum Rock School or up to Oneida or Helenwood again, you need to go ahead and take shelter from this next storm that is now moving into your area. Doesn't really show a great velocity signature of seeing damaging winds or seeing a possible tornado with it. It does have the potential to possibly be producing some hail in that area as well. But again, our main concern is this cell that's over here crossing over the Scott-Campbell County line right now, going to be passing to the north of Royal Blue near Pioneer. And crossing over Stinking Creek Road and crossing over I-75 very shortly here in just a little bit. Elise, I can't understand what you're telling me right now. Okay, all right, so we're going to continue to track these storms with the radar in just a moment, but some of our viewers have sent us some photos from across the area right now of the possible damage that we've seen across the region. So John and Robin, tell me more about it.
Cassie, we appreciate it. Again, lots of damage in various places. Fortunately, no reports right now of injuries. Again, a couple of tornado warnings. We're going to get back to Cassie momentarily on those counties on the plateau. This from Fentress County, and that's what happens a lot of times, Robin, when those storms roll through. After they do, we see evidence of rainbows and sunshine, which much of the valley is seeing right now.
Yes, we would hope to see much more of that coming. If you do have a weather picture, please text us, that number 637-1010. Let's take another look at what we see here. And of course, hail. We've been hearing Cassie mentioning hail falling in parts of the region. Here's the evidence of just that.
And that's exactly what we'd like to see, is some comparison. You can see that person's hand giving us some real perspective. Also, this coming in of a potential funnel cloud. That was what the viewer identified. We'll leave it to the meteorologists and the experts to tell us if indeed that's the case. But these are just a few pictures that we've taken. And Robin, as you mentioned, we want people to do this if they're in a safe place and the storm has passed and they have a good eye for it. That's when you should take those photos or videos.
That's right. Of course, as we've reported, there has been damage reported in Fentress County or Cumberland County rather, at the Pleasant Hill Elementary School, the high school, and the nursing home there. We do have a crew on the way to bring us coverage of what they see once they get there. But Cassie, this, to me, it seems like it's been a very slow moving system, but you can tell us if indeed that's been the case.
And I just want to interrupt real quickly and let our Fox 43 viewers know here at 6:30, we're on the air because there are a couple of tornado warnings that you need to know about. Cassie, take it away.
Yeah, these storms, Robin, it seems like we've been tracking them forever.
Yes,
because
it does.
We have been, because these storms are moving at about 30 to 40 miles per hour. So that's fast, but not super fast. So it's giving folks, at least the good news about that speed is that it's giving folks time to get to their safe places here. And these are long track storms. So that is the good news, that we have been able to at least see these storms coming. So heads up, right now what we've gone, again, welcome to our Fox 43 viewers, WBIR viewers, we're sticking with you here because we're going to continue to track these storms for you. Again, we have a tornado warning that is about to expire or will be canceled for Fentress County. So Fentress County, that storm has moved out of your area at this point. So Fentress County, you are now in the clear. So Fentress County, you're okay for right now. We're going to continue to monitor any other little cells that may pop up. Cumberland County, we've had damage reported. Photos of funnel clouds in that area, near the Pleasant Hill School area, near Fairfield Glade as well. So Cumberland County, unfortunately, has had some damage reported in that area. But right now, and Cumberland County schools are closed tomorrow. I'm getting that from our producer, Elise, because I guess of the damage that we've had in those areas and damage to some of the schools. Thankfully, no injuries have been reported, so that's good news there. So again, Fentress and Cumberland County, as of right now, you are in the clear as far as warnings are going. We may have another shower or storm develop in your area, but usually once we have storms move through, that helps to stabilize the atmosphere. Morgan County, unfortunately, we've had some damage in Morgan County as well. Near the Sunbright area, we had half-dollar size hail reported. We had some downed trees reported, and a possible tornado on the ground near the Wartburg area just a little bit ago as well. So Morgan County right now, all is quiet for you. And again, unless there is an additional development, which doesn't look likely, you are now in the clear as well for now. Everybody else, besides Scott and Campbell and now Claiborne County, you're good. These storms are not going to develop in your area. They're not moving in your direction. So if you're in East Tennessee and you are outside of Scott, Campbell, and Claiborne counties, thank you for joining us and staying on the ride with us. But the main folks that are being impacted right now are in Scott and Campbell County. So let's go ahead and talk about what's going on. So the tornado warning that was for Fentress County has been canceled early, so that's good for them. That same cell is now a severe thunderstorm warned cell, moving just to the south of Possum Rock School. It's going to be getting into Oneida. The main threats with that storm are the potential for some damaging winds and possibly some hail. So if you are in the Oneida area, you need to take shelter because this storm could produce damage. Whether it's rotating or whether the winds are coming straight at you, it's still dangerous. So go ahead in Oneida and Winfield and anywhere kind of around there, you need to go ahead and take shelter. Again, the main storm that we're tracking is this one here. It has the tornado warning on it until 7:15, still showing a very broad rotation. It's not as tight as that rotation was just a little bit ago when it was near the Norma area. That's when we were most concerned about possibly having a tornado on the ground in that area. Still could be producing a tornado though, or may lift and come back down. As I was explaining earlier, these storms kind of breathe. They take a breath, they get their act together, and then they exhale and they collapse, and then they breathe again. And so the rotation can do that too. It can weaken and then tighten back up and then weaken and tighten back up. Right now, it's kind of broad and kind of weak, but it's passing right over I-75, crossing over Stinking Creek Road, Habersham. You're next. Habersham, you need to take shelter. Habersham, the storm is getting closer to you. It just updated here on our velocity scan radar. If you are along Duff Road or into the Habersham area, you need to be moving to your safe place. Your safe place is the lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows. You want to put as many walls between you and the exterior as possible, because if this was to produce damaging winds or a tornado, there's probably going to be some damage in it, or debris in it, I should say. And debris can cause damage, so we want you to be protected if we can. So go ahead and take shelter in the lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows, if you are in the Habersham area or near Duff Road. I'll go ahead and kind of give a broader look at who may be in between there that I might be missing as well, and heads up White Oak Elementary School, or if you are in and around that area. So Broyles Chapel, Stinking Creek Elementary, Chaska, Habersham, Wynn Habersham High School near Westbourne, White Oak Elementary School, Tackett Creek, or Anthrace. Excuse me if I've mispronounced the names of any of your cities or schools. You know where I'm talking about. This again has moved into Campbell County. This storm has a history of producing damage near Fairfield Glade, half-dollar size hail near Sunbright, possible damage in Scott County as it came through that area, maybe near Helenwood or near Huntsville, and also, again, now still showing the potential to be producing damage, a tornado or damaging winds as it is moving through Campbell County. Also could be producing large hail. We can see that with our vertically integrated liquid product. It tells us how much liquid is in the core of that storm, and when you see the bright yellows, oranges, and reds, it tells us that we have a lot that storm is working with right now. So again, continuing to track these storms as they're moving off to the northeast at about 30 to 40 miles per hour. So I'll go ahead and put this into motion for you so you can kind of see what's going on here. But again, these storms have been going for a long time, since back when they were in Cumberland County. Look at that. Look at how long that track has been. That storm, wow, that's very impressive, folks. That's very impressive that they've been able to keep up for that long. Robin, did you have a question?
Yeah, well, so we are seeing, obviously, the rain, we are seeing winds, but hail, how much hail are we seeing?
With these? Well, again, half-dollar size hail reported near Sunbright. We saw some pictures of hail near the Crossville area a little bit earlier. Did not have a comparison, or did that have a comparison to that particular photo? I don't think it had a comparison, but if you guys do send us photos of hail, give us a standardized object. Send us a photo of that hailstone next to a quarter or a ping pong ball or a $50, because that's roughly how large we're talking about here right now with these storms moving through the area. So yes, hail is certainly possible with any of these storms that are moving through today. Hail that is large enough to maybe cause some dents in your car. And then, of course, the possibility of the tornadoes associated with this too, and or damaging winds as well. Those are our threats that we've been seeing across the area today. Wanted to take a look at that second cell that's kind of down near the Norma area right now, because Norma had the first cell move through. Okay, it's just to the north of there. Making sure that cell is not strengthening. Okay, so speaking of hail, what Robin and I were just talking about, near Elk Valley along I-75. When you see colors that look like that, folks, that is indicative of very large hail associated with that storm. And when we're talking about a tornado-warned storm, that means it's probably pretty tall. It's going up pretty high in the atmosphere, and that means it also has a lot of strength for the updraft. And that what that does is get those hailstones moving around, but it keeps them moving around and keeps lifting them up until they're too heavy, and then they finally fall back down. With a storm like this, you could have half-dollar size hail coming back down with that cell as it collapses. So again, large hail possible along near Elk Valley along I-75 right there near Highway 297, Stinking Creek Road. This is also where we have the possibility of the damaging winds, but again, the rotation is weakening right now. But if you are ahead of the storm in Habersham, you need to be taking shelter anyway, because even if the storm weakens, it is still possible that it produces damaging winds. And what we've also seen with this storm is it will briefly weaken and then it will tighten back up. So we want to make sure that we don't let our guard down with the storm right now, just because it doesn't look as scary on the velocity scans. So again, to the east of Elk Valley, east of I-75 in Campbell County, that's where we have this possible broad rotation showing up right here on your screen. So that's going to be crossing over 25W toward Habersham. So if you're in Habersham or near White Oak Elementary School, you need to be taking shelter in the lowest level of your homes, away from doors and windows. I know we've been on here for a little while. In fact, we're coming up on about 2 hours right now. don't let your guard down. Don't relax just because this has been going on and on and on. As Robin said, they're kind of moving relatively slowly at 30 to 40 miles per hour. Sometimes we see severe thunderstorms and tornadoes move at 50 or 60 miles per hour. So the good news is that these storms are moving at a pace that gives you a heads up. So take advantage of that. Go to the lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows in the Habersham area. And again, we've got crews on the way to these counties that have been affected by these storms. We'll continue to bring you updates as we gather information. We're continuing to watch other cells that are moving across the area. That cell that's just to the west of Oneida right now, don't give up on that one either. We got to keep watching it. So Oneida, you need to get in the lowest level of your home because that one is also starting to look a little frisky. So we're going to continue watching that cell coming into Oneida again. So Oneida, I'm sorry, but you got another cell coming to you. So take shelter now. You got another strong thunderstorm moving in your direction, and that confirms it. And there's our vertically integrated liquid. The storm is strengthening right now. That's to the west of Oneida. When you see those brighter colors, again, that indicates more liquid content. It indicates a stronger core, a taller core. The taller the storm, the stronger the storm. And that's what we have going on. So Oneida and Winfield, you need to take shelter again. Because again, you have that severe thunderstorm warning and the possible severe thunderstorm coming into your area right now. Robin, can you give us an update or kind of a recap on some of that damage that we've had?
Yeah, we have gotten reports that there has been damage reported at the Pleasant Hill Elementary School and also at a community center. We do have a crew, as you mentioned, on the way to bring us the visuals of the damage. We have seen pictures and we've been sharing them with you. Hopefully we can bring those back up at some point. But we are getting video into the newsroom as well. And Cassie, take a look at this. This is southwest of Sunbright. About 5:30 this afternoon, and there's that rotation. What are we seeing right here?
So what you're actually seeing pretty well defined right there is not only the rotation, but the updraft. See how it's climbing up? It's pulling up.
Yeah.
So what we cannot tell from this, and I want to educate the viewers on this too, what we cannot tell is if that is touching the ground or not. You could make the assumption that it is, but we like to work with facts in the science field, so we can't tell if that's actually a tornado on the ground or if that is just a funnel cloud. But what makes this different from just a low-hanging cloud or a funnel cloud is the fact that we can tell it is rotating. What we also can tell from this is it's kind of broad, and you can really see that upward motion there, so it's a strong updraft with that cell. I think that is cell number 2, the one that I've been talking about, is more robust than the other one. That we've been tracking all day today, the one that is still showing, that has the tornado warning still attached to it right now, that is actually making its way through Campbell County right now. So I think that's that cell. And if that's what we've seen in the past, we could see it again from that cell. Also, just a quick update, Elise in the booth, also getting a report from Scott County of damage to structures near the Norma area. So that's what I was talking about with the well-defined velocity structure there with the couplet. It says damage to structures, trees, and power lines near Norma Road and Baker Highway, a possible tornado in that area. So again, showing that rotation in Scott County. This looks like the same video.
Yeah, it looks similar. I'm not sure if that is
believe
the same.
That's the same video.
Yeah. I do believe we have some more video coming to us from Scott County, and hopefully we can pull that up. But we can't reiterate this enough. We appreciate the pictures, we appreciate the video, but please do it from a safe distance. We do not want you to be in harm's way. This is the video from Scott County, and we see something that looks pretty similar.
It looks very similar. This video is shot a little bit farther away. Wow, what's really interesting about this one, again, cannot confirm, I hope we have a lot of loops on this video because I want to talk about this for a minute, cannot confirm that this is touching the ground right now because we're just too far away from it. But what you're noticing here is multiple vortices. Josh, I know you're enjoying watching that. Okay,
vortices.
Possible multiple vortices. So watch at the very bottom of the funnel where it splits in just a minute here, and you can actually see 2 different funnels kind of dancing around each other there. Mm-hmm. Oh no. Is there any way we can run that video again? Okay, so we're gonna reload that video and possibly do it again in just a second there. So what that tells us is that it may not be on the ground, but just interesting from a meteorological standpoint that may have been, okay, so watch, look at the bottom. See how there's 2?
Yes, and those are vortices?
Vortices, so that would be basically, it's one possible tornado, but with multiple vortices kind of dancing around each other. So doesn't make it any stronger, or weaker than any other typical tornado. That doesn't really change the strength of it, but what it does is expand the possibility of the damage field, because now you've got two little funnels kind of dancing around each other. That's what that looks like from that video, and again, we can't tell if that's on the ground. We're not sure where this video was taken from. It's up to the National Weather Service to head out there and do the surveys to confirm where the damage was and if it was from a tornado or just from straight line winds. But the bottom line is, thank you to our viewers for sending in those photos and videos. What I want to point out is that both of those videos were taken from very, very far away. And that's the important part, as Robin was trying to emphasize. If you're going to send us pictures or you're going to send us videos, make sure you are getting those safely, because we don't want you to put yourself in harm's way to be a storm chaser, because we don't want to do that.
And you do want to have that safe place. You've been talking about this all afternoon, that safe place. If you see something like that coming your way, find your safe place, right?
You absolutely want to, and that is the lowest level of your home. Okay, we just had an update from that storm. Let's go ahead and take the radar full here if we don't mind. Near Oneida, remember I was talking about how it was starting to look a little frisky? There's your tornado warning associated with it. So new tornado warning for Scott County here, coming into Oneida right now, because of starting to show some rotation. Again, not looking great on this radar because it's so far away, and honestly it's being blocked by the other storm. So it's very difficult to see this one in the background because the other one is in the way. So if I actually can zoom out just a little bit here, just a little bit, we've just got a lot of activity kind of blocking the radar just a bit. So the bottom line is we have a new tornado warning that has now been issued. It does include the city of Oneida. So again, in Oneida, you need to be taking shelter in the lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows. This cell could be not only producing a possible tornado, it could also be producing some damaging winds, as well as the potential for very large hail. That's what you're seeing on this product here, that bright, bright pink color just to the northwest of Oneida near Atomic School. I believe that's probably close to $half size hail. Let me see if I can click on the warning and get that for sure. Yes, $half size hail, possible tornado with that storm. It is moving to the northeast at 35 miles per hour. Again, right near the Oneida area right now. So if you are in Oneida, you need to be in your safe place. And Winfield, hello, it's heading in your direction. So Winfield, again, you need to move to your safe place, lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows right now. New tornado warning issued for Scott County for another cell that has developed. This is the one that was in eastern Fentress County near Allert, is now tracking across Scott County, possibly producing large hail. That's what you're seeing behind me there. Possibly producing the rotation that may allow a funnel cloud or possibly a tornado to develop in that area. Also getting reports from a little bit earlier tonight, about an hour ago, of quarter-size hail in the Huntsville area. So again, large hail having been already reported, we know the atmosphere is primed for that. So even though this is a new storm, it could also produce large hail with it. Continuing to track that big storm that has been just really persistent, the one that produced the possible damage near Fairfield Glade, then $half hail near Sunbright, then through Morgan County into Scott County near Norma, possibly produced a tornado with damage to power lines, trees, and structures in that area that we're trying to gather more information about. Now that storm is kind of working its way almost along I-75 right now through Campbell County. So I want to also point something out. What we're looking at right here on the screen is the radar product. So this tells us how heavy the rain is. Where you see the yellows and then eventually the darker colors there, that just simply indicates how heavy the rain is, how much the radar is reflecting something back from it. When I turn on this product, the velocity product, that shows us the wind and what direction it's moving in, how strong it is. What we're not seeing from that storm anymore is a well-defined couplet. So I think the potential still exists for this tornado to produce, or excuse me, this storm to produce a tornado, but I don't know that it is currently doing that. We don't want to let our guard down because, as we've seen from the storm, it breathes, it weakens, and then it takes another breath and strengthens again. So we're going to keep watching this. Again, a tornado warned storm, so it still has the potential, but right now I don't think that's our biggest threat. I think our biggest threat is from the potential for very large hail right along I-75 near Newcomb Elementary School. Notice that the hail is a little bit north, it's a little bit offset. That hail would be falling from the anvil from that cloud, falling down. It's not going to come from where the tornado possibly was with the core of the storm. It's going to be up in the higher parts of the storm, falling away from it. So you could see some heavy rain and some hail, but if there is hail associated with the storm, it's going to be on the northern side of that storm as opposed to the southern. And when you see bright colors like that, folks, again, that is $half size or larger hail likely from this storm, especially when it is getting closer to the radar at this point because it's progressing further to the northeast. That gives us more confidence in what we're seeing right now. So if I look at this radar, what I'm seeing is the potential, the need for you to go to your safe place if you are in Habersham up to Jellicoe, between Habersham and Jellicoe right now. But know that if you're in Habersham, you have the better potential of seeing the possibility of the damaging winds, maybe a tornado again in that particular cell. But what you're also going to have is to areas north of Habersham, very large hail falling from this particular storm as well. So that is what I've been calling cell number 2 all day long that's been moving across the area. Still moving to the northeast at about 30 to 40 miles per hour. So next up, once it gets past Habersham, Jellicoe, you may get the hail even though the storm is passing just to your south. It is going to be moving near White Oak Elementary School along Highway 90 and near Archer Center School, and then heads up in Claiborne County. We haven't really talked about you very much today, but you are in the far eastern fringe of this tornado warning polygon, and that warning is in effect until 7:15. So we have another little while that we're going to have to monitor this cell. So heads up in Clarefield and near Buffalo School in Claiborne County. You need to be watching and getting ready to move to your safe place because the storm is coming in your direction. Looks like we have a lot of new warnings being issued. So we have the tornado warning for Scott and Campbell County. That is that cell that I was saying was getting a little frisky earlier. We'll call it cell number 3 near the Oneida area. So again, Oneida, Winfield, if you're near Gum Fork School, I know you've already had to take shelter once today, but you got another one coming towards you. Not only is it possibly producing some damaging winds, but the hail with this one. Okay, hold on just one second, Elise. This one also could be producing very large hail near the Winfield area and near Gum Fork School. So if you are in those areas, you've got hail on the way. Another cell has developed in the wake of the first cell near Elk Valley. So again, along I-75 and Stinking Creek, where the first cell, or cell number 2 just passed through. Cell number 4, is that what number we're on, is going to be coming in your direction as well. Not exhibiting any tight rotation at the moment, but we're going to watch it because we've seen the history of what these other cells have done. So we are not going to let our guard down with that. Could be producing damaging wind near the Royal Blue School area, moving to the northeast here. Also could be producing some hail to the north of the storm. So don't be confused by the placement of this. The hail will be to the north. The possibility of the damaging winds will be with the core of the storm, which is a little bit further down to the south near Royal Blue School right now. And that is a new severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued that also includes Campbell and Claiborne County. So Campbell and Claiborne County, just like Scott County was having to do earlier, we've got 2 cells that are moving through your area. And then we've got that other one that's back through Scott County again that has both a tornado warning and a severe thunderstorm on it. So I know that that radar is kind of confusing looking right now, but basically I just want to show you we have 1, whoops, let me click on it. 1, 2, 3. We have 3 different cells that we're currently monitoring. This is the long track one that has a history of producing damage in Cumberland, Morgan, Scott, and now possibly in Campbell County. This is a new cell that has just developed in the wake of that other cell. And then this is the one that has redeveloped in the wake of those cells in Scott County. Again, if you're in Winfield or near Gum Fork School, you need to be taking shelter because the threats with these storms are damaging winds and possible tornadoes, but also large, large hail. So again, thank you to everybody who's been sending us in photos and videos and sending along the reports confirming that what we're seeing on the radar is actually occurring, but we want you to do it safely. We actually have more pictures and videos coming into our newsroom, and so I believe we're going to send it to John and Robin for a quick update on what we're seeing recently.
Cassie, we'll get right back to you, but
Okay.
we want to bring our viewers up to date with some live pictures as well. They've been sending us some photos, but again, we're taking you live right now to some of the aftermath in Cumberland County. You're looking live at Pleasant Hill Elementary School, and Robin, you saw some of those earlier pictures as well that we were going through, but again, this is a live picture we're looking at now.
We have also heard that there was damage to a community center nearby, but yes, some of the pictures that we saw really had the roof on one of the buildings basically just teetering there. But as you can see, there is damage, and we have gotten word that there will be no school in Cumberland County tomorrow, certainly in the wake of these storms. As Cassie has been saying, the seriousness of these storms, we've got tornadoes, we've got wind, we've got rain, and we also have large hail. So she has been sharing this with us all afternoon. We want to make sure you stay safe. That is why we are sticking with this, because certainly there are people in harm's way, and we want to make sure you stay safe.
You can see this is a live picture of cleanup already starting in Cumberland County. Again, this around Pleasant Hill Elementary School, one of the places where, at least Cassie was saying earlier, had the potential of a tornado touchdown. Again, as she has been reiterating, that will all be surveyed by the experts. The National Weather Service will send out surveyors and look at this damage and determine, number one, the wind strength, and number two, if indeed a tornado did touch down. But we're giving you live pictures right now of the damage in Cumberland County and people cleaning up. Cassie, when you look at this, I know it's difficult to tell if you're not on the ground, but is there anything you're seeing in the trees or on the ground that would indicate we saw a tornado touchdown, or is it just too soon to tell?
From those pictures of what I'm seeing there, it's too soon to tell, but what you can tell is that very strong winds came through that area, because notice, I know that we're still kind of coming into the spring season, but notice how there's just like, it looks like the trees have been stripped of their leaves, and you can see all the branches all over the ground right now. What the National Weather Service is going to look at when they come out there is the damage that was done to the buildings and how well built the buildings were. That is what the EF scale, the Enhanced Fujita scale, measures, is damage. And that's what helps to determine how strong the winds were when they came through that area, what caused it. What will determine whether those winds were rotating or not is the pattern that the damage is in. If everything is in the same direction, all the trees are laid flat in the same direction, that tells us that it was straight line wind damage from severe thunderstorm winds. If we see things thrown down in a kind of a curve pattern, a little bit from like left to right kind of a pattern, again, the National Weather Service will be able to survey that better than I can show you, because these pictures are way too tight for any of that. What they'll be able to determine is that if all the trees are not laid down in the same direction, if all the roofs are not ripped off in the same direction, that indicates that we may have had some rotation with the winds. But what we can tell from this picture is that some very strong winds came through that area, obviously lifted the roof off of one of the buildings there, obviously caused a lot of structural damage. The thing that I'm happiest about from what I've heard from any of this is that there haven't been any reports of injuries.
Yes.
And that's what I'm glad to hear. But that means folks are heeding the warnings, taking shelter, and we need to continue to do that. So,
Cassie, what we also saw from the video, clearer skies in Cumberland County. This has been very concentrated. It's not been widespread, has it? But focused more in the upper East Tennessee Plateau area.
That's right. And what you're seeing there are the blue skies, just some lingering clouds. Yeah, Cumberland, although Fentress County has a new little shower developing, and we're not going to let anything go by right now. But yeah, Cumberland County is in the clear at this point. The energy in the atmosphere is shifting to the northeast, which is why the storms are moving in that direction. And we actually have still some warnings in effect. So let's dive back into the radar here and kind of go over. I know it looks messy on this radar. Let me try to clear a couple things here real quick to try to make this a little bit easier for you to see. Give me 1 second to try to do that, because our stuff is set up kind of more to like go to town rather than be specific. So let's turn these off. Okay, so I just turned off the severe thunderstorm warnings because I think the tornado warnings are a little more important. So the cell that has developed in Campbell County near Elk Valley now has a tornado warning attached to it too. So that's the biggest news that's happened since we were just taking those live shots. So what I want to show you are the couple cells that we have. The one that has been going on for the longest, the one that may have caused damage near Fairfield Glade in Cumberland County, which, just to confirm real quick, Elise, do we have a crew that's near Fairfield Glade and a crew that's near Norma or heading to Norma in Scott County? Okay, cool. We have crews heading in those directions for both of those areas, because I really think Norma is going to be the one that was most highly impacted based off of what we saw on the radar. So if you are in or near White Oak Elementary School or in Clairfield, you need to be taking shelter, because that cell that has a history of producing damage since it was back in Cumberland County is now about to move in your direction. So that's this cell right here. It's very hard to discern right now because the rotation that is associated with it is relatively broad. It may not be currently producing damaging winds or currently producing a tornado, but it might. at any point do that again if it isn't already. So again, what we're looking at is a radar product. We're not there on the ground, so we can't really see what's actually happening. We're just doing our best based on what we're seeing here. So again, Clairfield and along Highway 90 crossing from Campbell County into Claiborne County, you need to be taking shelter in the lowest level of your home away from doors and windows. If you're along Tracy Branch Road or near Buffalo School, in Valley Creek, Kidwell, Hamlin Town, this is all in Claiborne County, near Egan, or possibly near Creek Road, Valley Creek Road, or Log Mountain Road in Clairfield in Claiborne County. You need to be taking shelter now because the cell that is currently near White Oak Elementary School in Campbell County is currently moving in your direction. We also have the other cell that is now has a tornado warning on it, not showing up super well on our velocity product at the moment, but it's just to the northwest of La Follette. It is moving to the northeast at about 35 miles per hour. Again, it's this cell right here near Elk Valley, La Follette, this area. Let me get my little pointer back going here again. This cell that I was pointing out there is moving off to the northeast as well, is about 30 to 40 miles per hour. So again, if you're along Stinking Creek Road, Habersham folks, you probably are still in your safe place from the first cell, and you need to be in your safe place because another one is coming in your direction. And again, with any of these cells, we just cannot let our guard down with them, whether they're looking promising on the radar or not, because in 5 minutes, these cells can go from looking like we're done to here I am again. So we've got to keep tracking these cells.
Cassie, I just want to interrupt you real quickly. A lot of our viewers are wondering where Wheel of Fortune is. It's on 10 News 2 right now, and that's because for many of you, the skies look fine. You're thinking, what's going on here? All of this is concentrated in just a handful of counties on the plateau, but as Robin and both Cassie mentioned, we're bringing you this information because it's life-saving. For those folks, it's a tornado warning, which means there could be a tornado on the ground or the conditions are ripe for it to happen at any time. Robin, I know we have some fresh video you want to get to.
We do. Let's take a look at this. This is coming to us from Northwest Sunbright, and yeah, check it out. Cassie, you were talking earlier. This appears to be a tornado, but that's not confirmed. But there's no way of knowing whether this is touching the ground or not.
Exactly, and that's the important thing to remember when you're sending in reports, and more importantly when you're posting on social media, because you know how false information spreads way faster on social media than true information does. We cannot tell from this video if that's actually on the ground or not. You can assume that might be happening, but again, we like to stick to the scientific facts. So if you happen to take a video like this, make sure you label that as a possible tornado or a funnel cloud. Possible tornado is what we're going to stick with until that's completely confirmed by the National Weather Service. And again, we have 2 National Weather Service offices that service our viewing area. Nashville services Cumberland and Fentress County, and Morristown services the rest of our East Tennessee counties. NWS Jackson actually covers our Kentucky counties.
One other note, Cassie. I just want to point this out because our Facebook viewers in Scott County are laughing a bit because our weather graphics are pulling up schools in some places that haven't existed since the 1800s. We get it. We know it. We know they're not in school there. Those are coming up in part to just give you an idea of where the storms are in a rural community. We know kids aren't in school in those schools, but that's so you know, we know as well.
Yeah, we're just doing our best to give you some kind of a landmark. And you know what? Technology is a whole lot of fun, and clearly our weather system doesn't know what is and what is not still there. And so I'm sorry that we're pulling up old information. But the point is that we're trying to give you landmarks, trying to keep you safe. And for those of you who are upset because you're not watching Wheel of Fortune right now, if you haven't already seen the videos, you will later tonight. Damage has happened. Folks' homes have been damaged, and they may not be able to stay in their homes tonight. And we're going to continue to cover this information, these storms, as they continue to develop. This is an ongoing situation. We got into this wall-to-wall coverage covering these warnings back at about 4:40 this afternoon, I believe was when the first warning came into the area. So we have been on the air for 2.5 hours constantly tracking these storms and hopefully helping people to get to their safe places when they need to. And thankfully, so far, we have not had any reports of injuries despite the damage that we have seen come in across the area. And that is a kudos to you, the viewers who went to your safe places, because that's exactly what you're supposed to do when we have strong to severe storms moving through the area. And the other thing is, there's only 3 storms on the radar right now, but they are just being a mess while they're moving through. So here's what we currently have going on. We have the storm that we've been tracking the longest is now moving out of Campbell and Claiborne County and crossing over the state line into Kentucky. It is moving into southern Whitley County right now. Let me see if I can get my system to update there. There you go. Southern Whitley County right now, going to be moving into near the Pearl area. That's also going to be moving near Laurel Fork School in Bell County. So in Whitley County and in Bell County in Kentucky, you've got a strong to possibly severe storm moving in your direction right now. That storm is the same one that has a history of producing damage and half-dollar size hail. So take this seriously. If you're in the Pearl area, you need to be taking shelter in the lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows. Again, this is moving into southeast Kentucky in southern Whitley and Bell County in Kentucky. That does include Knox County in Kentucky. But again, that storm not getting up to your area right at this moment. Confusing puzzle of warnings down here to the south, but we do still have a cell that had redeveloped on the backside of the first cell. Moving into, hold on one second, there we go. Okay, so here, this will help clear it up just a little bit for you. So the cell that is moving out of Kentucky or out of Tennessee into Kentucky is right here. That's that severe thunderstorm warned cell moving into Whitley and Bell County in Kentucky. The cell that currently still has a tornado warning attached to it in northeast Campbell, going to be clipping northern parts of Claiborne County. Then we have another cell that developed on the backside of that one, was producing some larger hail, or looked like it was, near Elk Valley along I-75. That is also going to be moving into Habersham. So as we've talked about before, that in Habersham, you need to be taking shelter or staying in your shelter, because we do have the potential of that storm to produce damaging winds. Again, not seeing a very strong velocity signature right now, but at any moment, these storms can wrap up. That's what we've been talking about all day. And then we have another cell that is also tornado warned at this point, but also not showing a super strong velocity signature. Appears to be weakening because the VIL is going down. That's the vertically integrated liquid. So again, we're continuing to track these 3 different cells. That is what is causing all of those warnings all over the place right now. And again, these 3 cells are affecting northern Scott, central and northern Campbell, northwestern Claiborne counties in East Tennessee. And then in southeast Kentucky, they're affecting southeastern Whitley and Bell County in Kentucky. And again, they're moving off to the northeast at about 35 to 40 miles per hour. In Cumberland County, you're in the clear for now. Looks like in Morgan County, we've got a new little shower developing to the south of Sunbright. Hopefully, everybody do your dances, cross everything you can. The atmosphere has been drained. Let's hope that it has. We've got a new little shower developing near Sunbright and a new little thunderstorm developing near the Allard area in Fentress County. So the warnings are over here. The new showers are developing back to the west. Hopefully the atmosphere has been drained, but we're going to continue to monitor the situation. And again, the reason that we are staying on your TVs for this long and continuing to track these storms is because they have a history of producing the damage. We've seen the videos of the possible tornadoes. You've seen the video, the images of the damage in Cumberland County. You've heard that Cumberland County schools are closed for the day tomorrow because of damage to 2 or at least 3 schools near Fairfield Glade and near Pleasant Hill. We've had large hail in Morgan County and in Scott County, damage in Scott County, which we're still sending a reporter to go possibly update that. I believe Robin has an update on that.
Well, speaking of Scott County,
Okay.
our crew back in the newsroom has been calling those counties impacted, and what we have heard from Scott County is that State Park Road and Norma Road are closed. Crews are actually cutting their way through the trees
Wow.
to get
Yeah, and so this is
access.
so Robin's talking about Norma, and if you all have been on our coverage for an extended period of time, Norma is the area. I hope you could hear her in my microphone. She was saying that crews are actually having to cut through trees to get to people along which road?
That it's
There
Norma
you go.
Road and State Park Road. Those appear to be the areas that are most impacted. But yes,
Yes.
crews there cutting the trees to make access.
To try to even get
Yeah.
to folks who may be on the other side of those trees that need help right now. So that is the cell that, if you were on our coverage a little while ago, that was the moment where we saw the brightest velocities, the strongest couplet, really the strongest indication of a possible tornado on the ground, also possible debris lofted into the atmosphere. So what that sounds like with the confirmed damage in that area is that may have indeed been what we were seeing. at that time in that area. So again, Norma is the area that I'm most concerned about to have possibly seen some of the worst damage, because that looks like, according to what we were looking at on the radar during this coverage, it looks like that is the area that had the strongest storm come through. But as you've heard, we've got damage across a lot of our northern plateau counties at this point. So we're going to continue to track these storms and continue to bring you the updates. Again, we have a series of warnings ongoing around the area right now. So to clean it up, I'm going to separate them to show you one at a time what's going on across the area. So first, I'm going to turn off the severe thunderstorm warnings. We have a couple tornado warnings in effect. The one that is in effect for northern Scott County and northwestern Campbell County, that storm appears to be weakening. It does not have a strong velocity signature on it. Could still be producing some hail as it is moving off to the northeast at about 30 to 35 miles per hour. So that's one of our warnings. We also have what's left of an old tornado warning that is going to expire. The cell that triggered that warning has now moved out of that area. So we should see that warning probably going away pretty quickly here. It only has another 5 minutes before it expires anyway. But that's actually the cell that has now moved into Whitley and Bell County in Kentucky. That's where severe thunderstorm warning is in effect. And then we have the most recent tornado warning is in effect until 7:30 for the cell that is currently moving into the Habersham area. To switch to the severe thunderstorm warnings versus the tornado warnings, the severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Whitley and Bell County is the previously tornado warned storm that may have done the damage near Norma that Robin is talking about. But the storm seems to be a lot weaker than it was when it came through that area. Nonetheless, if you are in Pearl, in southern Whitley County, southeastern Whitley County, or in Bell County in Kentucky, heads up, you got a strong storm heading in your direction that does have a history of producing damage. So just a heads up, you need to be moving to the lowest level of your home away from doors and windows anyway. Down near Habersham, there's also a severe thunderstorm warning in addition to the tornado warning on that particular cell. So let's look at the characteristics of that cell right now. Again, seeing possible rotation. This is what I'm talking about with these cells. You can't not pay attention to them, because at any point they could be causing some trouble here. So it does look like we might be seeing some possible rotation with that cell right there. So we're going to continue to watch it. Again, in Habersham, you need to be in your safe place, lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows. If we zoom out just a little bit, not seeing any other super bright signatures that are catching our attention. We're going to monitor the new activity that's starting to develop in Fentress and northern Morgan County. So if you are in Huntsville and Oneida, you may have at least rain coming in your direction, if not possibly a thunderstorm, if these continue to strengthen. But again, I think the atmosphere is pretty well tapped at this point through that area. You never can say never, though. Trust me, as a meteorologist, you never say never. So we're going to continue monitoring it. Another thing, besides the possibility of the damaging wind and or tornadoes, is the possibility of the large hail. We've had half-dollar size hail reported near Sunbright, numerous reports of hail in Cumberland County, and then into parts of Morgan and Scott County, and now into Campbell County. What you're looking at again on your screen is the vertically integrated liquid product, and it tells us about how much liquid is in the cores of those strongest storms. It also can give us an indication as to how strong or how tall the storm is, how strong it is. And the one that is near Pearl, with the little yellow dot in it, is previously the strongest storm that we've had all day long, appears to be weakening. The colors have come down in intensity. However, again, near Habersham, you have the potential for some of that larger hail, because that storm is not weakening right now. That storm still has some energy to work with and is still moving in your direction. So again, if you're in the Habersham area or near White Oak Elementary School, along Highway 90 or Cotulla Road, you need to be moving to the lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows, because the storm that's currently near Stinking Creek Elementary School is about to move into downtown Habersham very, very shortly. And again, I know that we've been at this for a long time, folks. Trust me, I am aware of it. We have to keep going while there is still danger to folks in our viewing area right now. So again, we still have a couple storms that we're monitoring. We're also sending our crews out to get the very latest on the damage that's around the area. And these storms were very impactful today, even though there were only a handful of them. So that's what we've been monitoring right now. And John and Robin, thanks for sticking with me today.
Just an update, Cassie. We have some new information from Cumberland County, and the sheriff there crediting the school resource officer as well as teachers at that school for getting the kids in a safe place as that severe storm, perhaps a tornado, hit. Everyone okay, some minor injuries, but that was a fortunate move.
And I'm actually hearing that that storm that I think you're referring to near Pleasant Hill, the National Weather Service in Nashville, because remember I told you Nashville covers Cumberland and Fentress County, they can confirm that an EF0 tornado with winds of 80 miles per hour is what did the damage near that Pleasant Hill school system and possibly to the community center that's in that area. They're currently working on the path length and the width of it. Of course, this is preliminary information, so there may still be updates. So what you're seeing right now on your screen, the damage that was caused in this area, we're going to figure out exactly which damage where, of course, as they continue to bring in the information, may have been caused by an EF0 tornado with winds of at least 80 miles per hour. So that's what I was talking about earlier, John, is they're going to look at if there was bark removed from the trees, how large the branches were that were removed from the trees. Did the leaves get ripped off? Was the siding just ripped off of the building? When the roof was removed, was it secured to the frame of the house? Like, they're going to look at the details of how that structure was built and how strong. Whoa, hang on to your hats.
Well,
folks.
this is a live picture. That's
Picture.
we're at that Pleasant
Hang
Hill
on.
school in Cumberland County. Robin, I know you had a question for Cassie.
Well, actually, just to let folks know, obviously there is damage there to the school, and we understand a community center. Schools are out in Cumberland County tomorrow as a result. That is what we heard a little earlier. Cassie, this has been going, you've been doing this now well over 2 hours. And as you are tracking this, is this going to wear longer into the Kentucky area? Where do you see this tracking?
It will be continuing to track to the northeast. Yes, it may affect our southeast Kentucky counties, but again, the big question is how tapped is the atmosphere at this point? Are we going to see redevelopment on the backside? And I apologize again for not looking at the camera while Robin was addressing me. We got to continue to bring in information, as we go through this here. So what it looks like right now is that we've got redevelopment in parts of Fentress County that's going to be moving into Scott County right now. We're not really seeing a lot of lightning with it, not seeing a lot of the vil associated with it. So for right now, it looks like on the backside, more showers, maybe some rumbles of thunder, but right now it looks like those are okay. The main storms that we're concerned with, the storm that was in Scott County has now weakened. It's moving into southern Whitley County near Saxton. So still could see some strong winds, but you're not under severe thunderstorm warning. They trimmed back the tornado warning for that particular cell. We're still watching for the potential of some weak rotation right near Upper Rock Creek School to the west of Jellicoe. It's really right on the state and the county line of Scott and Campbell, Tennessee and Kentucky, Whitley and McCreary. It's kind of right where all four of those kind of come together right there. That is where we could still see some broad rotation. That's why there's still technically a tornado warning in effect until 7:30 for that tiny little area right there. The main cell that we're concerned about right at the moment is this larger cell that's moving into the Habersham area, going to be moving into near White Oak Elementary and along Highway 90, possibly impacting Claiborne County. So again, we do have that tornado warning in effect for another 13 minutes with this particular cell. Again, not seeing strong, obvious rotation with it, but again, the radar not doing the best job reading that storm either right now. So right in this area is where we could be seeing some broad rotation with that cell. Again, that's why in Habersham, I'm asking you to take shelter right now and along Duff Road to the east of Habersham. I need you to go ahead and take shelter just to be safe. And ahead of this storm downstream in Clairfield and those areas around that, you need to be prepared to move to your safe place if the storm holds together and starts to move in your direction, because not only is it producing the possibility of damaging winds or maybe a tornado, but again, look at the vil associated with this storm. Very impressive. This storm has a very tall core associated with it. And again, when you see the really bright pinks like that, I mean, that is, again, quarter to $half to ping pong ball size hail, if not larger, possibly falling anywhere from Stinking Creek Elementary School to near Habersham to near White Oak Elementary. We want you indoors and away from that because it may damage your vehicle. It's really going to hurt if it hits you. So just stay inside, stay away from the doors and the windows. This is hail. Once it gets to that size, is the kind that puts holes in the vinyl outsiding of homes. So we don't want you outside when we have the potential for hail like that to be falling. And again, this is all moving off to the northeast. Not sure if this is going to update. It's not going to update with me. It's all moving off to the northeast. So heads up in Clairfield, even if you don't get the strong winds associated with this, you may get some very large hail coming into your area. So if you are in northwest Claiborne County near the Clairfield area or anywhere around that, you need to be going to your safe place right now just because of the potential for the storm to produce some very large hail when it moves in your direction. And again, this is our cluster. It looks like as they are moving over the state line into Kentucky, that maybe the atmosphere isn't as juicy there. They don't have as much to work with, but obviously in Cumberland, Morgan, Scott, and Campbell County today, the atmosphere was just ready to go for these storms to really tap into that energy and continue to cause damage. And that's what we have been watching. That's why we've been tracking these storms, for over 2.5 hours now, is because of the damage that has been confirmed. As we've said, a confirmed EF0 tornado with winds of 80 miles per hour near the Pleasant Hill area in Cumberland County. Damage to the schools there. That's why schools are closed for the day tomorrow in Cumberland County. Damage to a community center in that area, and plenty more damage for the National Weather Services to continue to go out. And we'll continue to bring you the information, of course, as we go throughout the evening and
Cassie,
as the situation continues to develop.
I'm just going to interrupt you real quickly so you can reset that a bit. Again, a couple of tornado warnings. That's why we're still on the air tonight, making sure that people are taking cover. But also talk about what we may see overnight. Is this a concern into the night that we might see more storms develop? Because we know that is a huge problem if we see storms in the evening hours because you can't see them coming.
No, and while a lot of the time we have storms here in East Tennessee at nighttime, just because of the way storm systems moves across the country and it all works out, I'm smiling because no. Once these storms are done, this particular round that we're watching right now, the energy that's driving this, that's a little bit higher up in the atmosphere, is going to depart off to the northeast. We'll lose the daytime heating once the sun sets. Our atmosphere is going to stabilize and we can relax. We're going to see whatever activity continues to pop up over the next couple of hours gradually die down, and we should have a quiet overnight time frame, which I think we all need. It's going to give folks a chance to get outside while we still have some daylight to do some cleaning. The National Weather Service crews, it'll give them some time to go out and do some surveys, hopefully before it gets too dark. And then we're going to relax overnight tonight. Lows are going to be falling down into the mid-50s, so it's going to be kind of a mild night, quiet in areas that saw the rain up on the plateau. We may have some patchy fog develop, but overall quiet conditions expected. And into the day tomorrow, we should have a relatively quiet, at least first half of the day. Later in the afternoon, or at least into the evening, we're going to have to be watching what's going on down to our south and our west. It's a more complicated situation as far as what or if anything will even come up here. So we're going to have to watch that potential again later tomorrow to see if we have any of those storms survive long enough to get into our viewing area. And then again, that may last into Saturday morning too. So we're just kind of into an active weather pattern right now, and it kind of comes in rounds. We know this about East Tennessee, and it's spring, folks. It's April. This is perfectly normal for this time of year to be having strong to severe storms across this area. But what that means is that you need to be prepared, and we're going to cover them to our full extent possible to keep you safe.
And Cassie, at noon, your colleague Rebecca Sweet was talking just about this very thing developing in part because we saw rain and some cloud cover throughout the day, and she was hoping that would stay put because as soon as it cleared, she was worried about that heating the atmosphere that you're referring to. And is that what made these stronger storms pop up on the plateau?
Yes and no. There's a combination of factors in that because we also have had sun across the valley all day, and we also haven't had any storms develop here. I mean, our Alcoa Highway camera is beautiful right now with the sun shining down there. So it's not just the sunshine, but it's like adding fuel to a fire that's already kind of going. It really adds to the intensity of things. What happened up on the plateau today is also some upper level support, upper level dynamics that gets that twist going in the atmosphere that triggers the storms to actually develop. And we did not see any of those storms develop today across our valley counties, which is fantastic news. And we don't expect to see any. So the main areas that are being impacted right now, the northern plateau and into southeast Kentucky, and again, the warnings that we currently have in effect, a tornado warning that's still in effect for far northeastern Scott County, northwestern Campbell County. That storm really not looking very exciting on the radar at this point, but that warning is in effect for about another 7 minutes or so. We still have a tornado warning in effect for this cell right here that is now the strongest cell on our radar, that's moving just to the north of Habersham, going to be passing right over White Oak Elementary School along Highway 90 into Claiborne County near Clairfield. Also still not really looking too exciting on the velocity scan right now, but at any point, as we've seen, the elements are there in the atmosphere, so we want to make sure that we, pay attention. And again, as long as there's a tornado warning in effect for any part of our viewing area, we will continue to cover that. So this tornado warning does continue for just a little bit longer for these areas, again, near north of Habersham, across White Oak Elementary School, Highway 90, and into the Clarefield area. That is where we do have the potential for this storm to not only produce possibly a tornado, that in effect until 7:30, so also another 6 minutes, but also the potential for very large hail. Oh my gosh, can we just go back to the radar for one more second, because before we go back to this Crossville stuff, because this is really impressive. Look at that vertically integrated liquid, not only because of the color, it's maxing out our color potential right now near White Oak Elementary School, but also how big that is. So very, very tall storm is what this tells us right now. Could be producing very large hailstones in the White Oak Elementary School area and along Highway 90. We want you to be safe and stay inside, but oh my goodness, if you are in these areas and you see those hailstones, please send us photos of them and let us know what you're seeing, because that's how we know if what we're seeing on the radar is actually verifying. Speaking of that, we have a photo from Crossville that just popped up on your screen of some of that hail.
So Cassie, have you ever seen anything of that magnitude? That's not typical, I wouldn't think.
It doesn't happen often around here in East Tennessee. We have had, in my 5 years here, we've had teacup size hail down near the Chattanooga area one time, and that was extremely impressive. I don't think we're probably teacup size with that one, but I'm just saying that there is a very good chance that some very large hail is falling in that area right now based on what we're seeing there.
So when we see that pink on your radar, that indicates hail in that area.
In that particular
right?
product that we're showing right now, what that product technically tells us is that we have a lot of moisture in the core of that particular storm, but what it's picking up on is also the large hailstones too, and it's telling us that's a lot of moisture. So that's what we're seeing there. It tells us also it's a larger storm. On a more serious note, we are getting information from the 911 call center in Scott County that homes have been destroyed along Norma Road and near Straight Fork Road. That's that area that Robin was talking about just a little bit earlier, that emergency crews are having to cut through trees to get through. From the National Weather Service, talking to the 911 call center there, they are reporting that some homes may have been destroyed in the Norma Road and Straight Fork Road area. So Elise, back in the booth, thanks for sticking with us. Do we know how close our crews are to getting into that area right now? Okay, she's going to give me an update on that. But again, that is that same cell that we were looking at earlier that was just where we also saw that debris signature show up a little bit earlier. So that's why our confidence was a little bit increased in the potential to have possibly had damage there. And what we're kind of hearing from these reports coming in is that we're kind of confirming, unfortunately, that that's happened in that area. Crews are on the way from our station heading there. And obviously, it takes a minute to get information in these type of situations. Power gets knocked out. The cell towers get knocked down, trees block roads. It takes a little while for emergency crews to get there. And we're losing daylight. Our sunset is just after 8 p.m. tonight. So hopefully crews can get there and get working, and we can get more information out of that area very shortly. Previously, John had asked, or Robin had asked, about how much longer these storms are going to go for. We did just have a new severe thunderstorm warning issued for that storm that I'm talking about that could be producing that very large hail. Let me check on the... Robin, you asked about size here with the hail. We're up to golf ball size now,
okay.
Possibly showing up with that storm. It's about 12 miles northeast of La Follette. It's moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. So that is putting it right near that White Oak Elementary School, which I hope it still exists and isn't from the 1800s. It's north of Habersham, and it's moving toward the Clarefield area and near Buffalo School. That is in Claiborne County. So this is going to be another one of those storms that crosses the county lines. And the main threat from this storm is golf ball size hail. That is hail that is 1 3/4 of an inch in diameter. That is huge. That is the type of hail that will put dents in your car, could break your windshield or your back window kind of thing. Also may damage the siding on your home, may take off some small limbs and trees and branches and things like that. So dangerous hail now associated with that storm that's near the White Oak Elementary School area and moving along Highway 90 into Claiborne County. So Clarefield, near Buffalo School, anyone in northwestern Claiborne County, you need to be taking shelter away from your doors and windows because of that very large hail that is heading in your direction right now. And when storms like that collapse, I was trying to explain that earlier, When storms like that collapse, they take a lot of air down to the ground with them, and then it obviously hits the ground and has to go somewhere. So it spreads out, it fans out below the storm, so then you get damaging winds. So this storm still not only is possibly producing golf ball size hail, but once that core really starts to collapse, it also could produce damaging winds in that area. So do not let your guard down. This is a dangerous storm, not from the tornado potential, but from the potential of the hail and the damaging winds that could be associated with it.
Now, because we're knowing that these tornado warnings are expiring at the bottom of the hour, we're going to send our viewers to jeopardy. You're going to see that after this break. We appreciate you sticking with us throughout the afternoon. Certainly, Cassie will be here throughout the evening tracking these storms. We know that potential exists still until we get into the evening hours. Robin?
Well, you know what we have confirmed, and Cassie, make sure I get this right. It has been confirmed. An EF0 tornado did hit Cumberland County, the Pleasant Hill area. The elementary school there, as we saw in video earlier, has been damaged. The sheriff there crediting the teachers, the staff, getting the kids there to safety inside the school. We do understand there's some injuries, minor injuries, but once again, the sheriff crediting the staff to protect these kids. So that is a remarkable story there.
And building on that, Robin, are we going to see any other strong winds associated with this, Cassie, or should those be dying down as well?
Okay, so the National Weather Service in Nashville has been talking and letting us know what they're seeing. So let me go back to what's the big picture view of what's going on right now. No, we should not have, once this round of strong storms dies down, we're done. And we can relax. We can all eat dinner and we can chill. The rest of East Tennessee is not affected by these storms. This has all been in Cumberland, Fentress, Scott, Morgan, Campbell, now Claiborne, and into our southeastern Kentucky counties throughout the day today. And what you've just seen here is that a bunch of our warnings have been allowed to expire as of 7:30. We're going to continue our coverage here for just a little bit longer, though, due to the potential of this one last storm possibly producing golf ball size hail right now in parts of Campbell and now into Claiborne County. So what you're seeing popping up in Scott County right now, you may get some heavy rain, you may get some gusty winds or an occasional rumble of thunder, but it looks like that activity should stay below severe limits. This is what I was talking about earlier, hoping that the atmosphere has kind of been drained a little bit, and it looks like it has been. What we're seeing now is some storms up in southeast Kentucky into Whitley County, and then 2 severe thunderstorm warnings. And again, the reason we have 2 warnings here, 2 different National Weather Service offices. The Weather Service office in Morristown in East Tennessee has issued the warning for their coverage area in Campbell and Claiborne County. And then the Jackson, Kentucky office has issued for their area Whitley and Bell County in Kentucky. The Whitley and Bell County warning is in effect until 7:45. That does actually include southern Knox County in Kentucky. Knox County in Kentucky, so not in East Tennessee. And again, that's for that potential of that very large hail. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. Good news, kind of. It looks like the hail core itself is starting to collapse. So the potential for that golf ball size hail appears to be decreasing. But as I was mentioning, when these storms collapse, then they offer the option of possibly the damaging winds. Not seeing anything particularly bright or that grabs my attention on this particular velocity scan right now. But the bottom line is, if you are near the White Oak Elementary School along Highway 90 area, near Archer Center School, possibly near Clearfield in Claiborne County, near Buffalo School, Tracy Branch Road, Creek Road over in Claiborne County. Let's see if we can get another road in there. Highway 90 again continuing into Claiborne County, near Hamlin Town or Egan. Heads up, you've got a very strong storm coming in your direction that either could produce damaging winds or possibly some very large hail. So that's what I'm zoomed in on right now. That may get as far east as Valley Creek or Kidwell. So if you are in those areas in Claiborne County, you need to be taking shelter in your safe place in the lowest level of your home. And that storm is going to be heading into southeast Whitley County and into Bell County in Kentucky. That's where that severe thunderstorm warning is currently in effect right there. Right now, we're not even seeing any lightning with that storm, which also tells me that it is decreasing in intensity at this point. But again, when it does that, it tends to bring those strong winds crashing to the ground. So we could still see damaging winds and large hail from this particular storm. And man, if you were north of Habersham and you saw some large hailstones, please, please, please send us pictures and let us know how large they were in comparison to a standard object, because that is one of the more impressive hail cores that I've seen in a while here across East Tennessee. So we're hoping there was no damage, hoping there were no injuries from that. And if you can safely send us that report, we would greatly appreciate it. It would help us verify that what we're seeing on the radar is verifying across the area.
Cassie, as far as verification,
We were talking about the damage that was in Scott County. We got some reports that homes have been damaged. State Park Road, Norma Road, they are closed because trees had fallen on them. Crews trying to clear that. You can only assume at this point it's from a tornado, but verification actually really has to come from the National Weather Service, correct?
It absolutely has to come from the National Weather Service. We have that happen a lot of times here in East Tennessee, that when there's damage from wind, folks are immediately like, must have been a tornado. But let me tell you, that EF0 tornado had winds of 80 miles per hour that damaged that area in Pleasant Hill and Cumberland County. Severe thunderstorms can also produce winds of 80 miles per hour. So whether that wind hits you straight on or whether it ends up, swirling like a tornado, then either way, it's important to take action and heed those warnings.
Cassie, we appreciate all of your coverage throughout the afternoon, certainly keeping our folks up to date and safe on the plateau. Our hearts go out to them, certainly. Jeopardy is coming up next, and we hope to have you back right here for the Night Beat. We'll break in with any severe weather or warnings that you need.